Hi, I'm Liron Cohen.
And I'm Mimi Torchin.
And you're listening to Lady Parts TV, the podcast.
Whee!
Hi, everybody.
Greetings and salutations.
Welcome back. And we don't have stats for you because we're pre-taping this. I'm currently in Israel. But we are just going to plunge right in because there's something that we've been waiting for weeks to tell you about.
Oh, my God. First of all, it's called Little Fires Everywhere. It's based on the bestseller, which I read, by Celeste. We even looked up how to say it.
I think.
It's NG.
Yeah.
Okay. And
her novel, right?
Oh, yes, a wonderful novel. But it looks to me like they have upped her wonderful novel and turned it into a brilliant series. Creator and showrunner is Liz Tigelaar. And it's produced by Reese Witherspoon and Kerry Washington, and it stars Reese Witherspoon and Kerry Washington. I
think that Reese for a long time now is not going to be in anything that she hasn't also produced.
And I think she also always shares producing
with other fabulous women.
The other fabulous women with her. It's got a huge cast, but I'm just gonna name some of the main people. Reese, of course, Kerry Washington, Joshua Jackson, who plays her husband. Reese's husband, Rosemary DeWitt, who has a very pivotal role, and the rest is a bunch of kids who are just great. I don't know, some of them you will know, some of them you won't. They are sensational,
and are very central to the plot.
Very, very central to the plot, and they're very good, each and every one of them. Anyway, it takes place in Shaker Heights, which is where I spent many of my summers.
Which is basically the reason you bought the book.
Well, it got spectacular reviews, and it was at the Goddard Book Club sale, and so I went especially looking for it and found it. It's not really the Shaker Heights that I know. It's an enclave of people, and you learn a lot about the history of how this a city within a city, this area of Cleveland was founded, and the principles. It's a beautiful, wealthy area.
You get fined if your grass isn't trimmed.
Yeah. It's like Nantucket. Nantucket has pretty much a lot of those rules, so I think does Edgartown. But it follows the fates. They're very intertwined of this very picture-perfect Shaker Heights wealthy family, and
that's Reese Witherspoon. If you haven't,
if you haven't
figured it out,
right? And this mother and daughter who come into town, and she actually finds them sleeping in their car. Reese Witherspoon, Kerry Washington.
They move around a lot. She's
daughter,
an artist.
Yes, Lexi Underwood, Pearl, and she had something in her heart, Reese's, goes out to them, and she rents them
her apartment.
An apartment she owns, a duplex. And even though she has no references or anything, she takes her under her wing. They become a part of the household, basically.
She gets very close with the kids.
Pearl,
kids,
right, becomes a part of the family, basically, and Carrie Underwood. Oh, God.
Kerry Washington.
Kerry Washington starts to work as a cook and, someone around the house. And a lot of things happen. That's why it says little fires everywhere, although fire is, as you will see right from the get-go, a very big part of this series, which is stunning. It is just stunning. The acting is brilliant. The writing is phenomenally good. It's so compelling. And Kerry Washington's character is so kind of mysterious and unlikable in general, I find. Although, of course, she has her moments. I couldn't recommend it highly and more highly. And if I had a chance, I would sit down and binge. Is it 8 episodes?
We pretty much did.
No, we only saw 3 episodes
because that's
all
what
they
we
gave
had.
us on the press
That's what
site.
we had. But we binged it.
Oh my God!
I couldn't stop thinking about it. I couldn't stop wanting to watch more of it. It's so intriguing. And what's interesting is that, there's this woman who is, Reese Witherspoon's character, even though could have been a kind of a stereotypical character of her kind.
And it's a character she plays very often.
But she has so many different kind of layers to her, and she's very, very interesting.
She's a super mother, super
and this
achiever,
is very much about motherhood. And I think that what it seems like Reese has 4 children, 2 daughters and 2 sons. But one of the daughters, who is kind of the odd girl out, she is very much drawn to Kerry Washington's character because she is the artist. She is the kind of fluid, open, mysterious kind of person. She's drawn to her. And Pearl, who is Kerry Washington's daughter, she is very much drawn to Reese Witherspoon and her family household because that's the family she never had.
That she craves.
She grew up with a single bohemian kind of mother who moves around all the time,
constantly, and I don't know what that. I think we find out what that is because I read.
It supposedly it's because of her art, but but there is something else that I think she's running from, and so Pearl craves this kind of stability and kind of a home life that she doesn't have, and so it's very much about this kind of cross kind of how these families
cross pollination,
how these families are just kind of have to be together, even though they're so different, and even though there are a lot of secrets.
As we have grown to expect from anything Reese Witherspoon touches, it's of such high quality. It's just gold standard in every way.
There is a lesbian subplot. It's just the kind of thing that you can't stop watching. It's fascinating. We really recommend it. It premieres on Hulu March 18th. Little fires everywhere. It's one of the things that I'm most excited about this year.
Now, I don't know if they're going to do it weekly.
Yeah, I think they are. I think what Hulu usually does is they put 3 episodes at once the first week, and then they do it weekly.
So if you don't have Hulu, I would get it immediately. Or if you just want to wait until all the episodes are over, so you can binge it.
It's very hard not to binge.
You need to give Hulu your $4.99 or $5.99.
They deserve it.
They deserve it.
This is original
for content like this.
Yeah.
You'd pay $17 to go see a movie. This is 1,000 times better than most of the movies I've seen.
Listen, when you think about this, about The Handmaid's Tale, these are productions that are very expensive and are worth.
Yes, absolutely. They deserve our money.
So, Little Fires Everywhere, March 18th. Definitely watch it. Okay, now we're going to review a couple of movies that are 2 of those movies that are coming out both in theaters but also on digital and on demand. So, they're not going to be like Oscar winners, but they're interesting little movies
indeed
to watch on a rainy afternoon at home. The first one is called The Postcard Killings, and it's based on a novel, The Postcard Killers, by James Patterson, the famous writer, and Lisa Marklund. And it was apparently a #1 New York Times bestseller novel. It's directed by Dennis Tanovic,
I would say.
And written by, so many people. Andrew Stern, Ellen Furman, Lisa Marklund, and Tove Alsterdal. Okay, now that I've butchered everybody's name.
I would say those are, 3 women for sure.
Yes. It's starring Jeffrey Dean Morgan, whom you might mostly remember from
Grey's Anatomy or Walking Dead. I prefer him from Grey's Anatomy, but although Negan has gotten better.
One of your favorites, I know that for a fact, Famke Janssen, who actually doesn't have too much to do here, but enough to be good for the Famke Janssen fans. Kush Jumbo, Naomi Battrick, who is apparently a British actress, a young actress who I don't know, but maybe you Brits will know.
She's important.
Stephen McIntosh and Dennis O'Hare. And this is not specifically a female-centric film, but it's an interesting film with women in it.
And women are very
crucial to it.
Very crucial and very prominent.
Now, this is not the most original or best film of its genre that I saw, that I've ever seen, but it is, it's worth your time. And Jeffrey D. Morgan is a New York detective whose daughter and son-in-law are in London, and they are murdered in quite a gruesome way. And there is a little bit of gruesome graphic,
but it's brief.
It is.
It's just to set the high stakes of these killers, of finding them. It's not like Seven, where you really see,
Right. It's a sample just kind of to let
Yeah,
you know
it's
how
necessary.
bad it is.
Yeah.
So they're killed in London, and he then finds that there are similar murders across Europe, and so he starts traveling Europe following the leads because every murder is preceded by a postcard that is sent to a local journalist
With some sort of a one sentence.
Yeah, to kind of try to
Yeah.
play with, trying to play with them to make them try to figure it out. And Kush Jumbo is one of these journalists who is currently situated in Stockholm, even though she's not Swedish.
She's American, but she's really not. She's a bit.
Right,
But
she's
anyway.
playing so many different things. And he joins her, and he joins the detectives from all these European countries who are at some point banding together and going from one country to the next to find these killers and bring his daughter justice. Again, it's not the most original film I've ever seen, but it's not even the most, well written, but it's good. It's interesting. It has some interesting takes on the old genre. And we love Famke, we love Kush. We enjoyed it.
Let me say that I liked it way, way better than you did.
You did?
Yes, I did, because this is one of my genres. I thought it was very moody. It was shot very well. The acting was very good. I was very intrigued by the story. It's a very twisty-turny, and I think that it's worth $5 or $6. Again, this is how these people make their money. Most of them, they're not going to make it in the theaters.
Nah.
And
it's probably going to have a limited release, and I don't know how many people
two of you
will
watch it. You're watching it for $3 a person in the comfort of your own home. I recommend it for, again, it is a good rainy afternoon. A moody day, I'd rather watch it on a gray day than on a sunny day.
Oh, definitely.
That will bring you more into the mood. There's not a lot of joy in this movie, but I recommend it if you are a fan of this genre, and I am.
So it's called The Postcard Killings. It will be on digital, on demand, and in some theaters March 13th.
Another new movie, which is called Run This Town. It's released in U.S. theaters and on demand and digital March 6th. It's the feature film directorial debut by writer Ricky Tolman. And it stars Ben Platt, Mena Massoud, Nina Dobrev, who you might remember from The Vampire Diaries, of course, Scott Speedman, Jennifer L. is in it, and Damian Lewis, and a whole host
it's a good cast.
Very good cast, a whole host of youngsters you don't know probably, and it's based on a true story. It actually surrounds the young people, millennials. It gives you a good insight into millennials maybe you didn't have before,
or didn't want to have. No. I think a lot of us have a certain opinion on millennials, and I actually think it made a good case for some of the things that we take pains with.
Exactly. It's based on the true escapades and scandal of Toronto's incredibly awful mayor, Rob Ford. And it shows two sides of the coin. It shows a struggling journalist, and that side of the coin, played by Ben Platt, and Scott Speedman is his editor. And then the other side of the coin is Rob Ford's staff of young advisors. And one side is looking for the story, the other side is trying to keep the story hidden. And they all, though, are very ethical. They're just trying to make their way. They're highly intelligent. They're very smart kids, and it's fun to watch them. I am not a fan of Ben Platt. There's something about him that just skeeves me out. I don't know what it is. Also, I feel that he plays every role exactly the same, but he's very good. It works for this character. He's very good. You will be absolutely stultified. You will not believe when you figure out who is playing Rob Ford, who is very unrecognizable, fat suit and prosthetics and everything. But it's a very. I was slow to warm to this movie. It tried to be Aaron Sorkin, and it is not Aaron Sorkin.
thing
Only
about-
Aaron Sorkin is Aaron
Exactly.
Sorkin.
We've said that about other things before. You can't be Aaron Sorkin. Don't try to be Aaron Sorkin because only Aaron Sorkin can be
right.
Aaron Sorkin. Just do your own thing.
But then they settle into it's
Yeah.
actually, I think, very well shot, very original in the way it's shot. It's up to date.
It's kind of amazing to think that this is this guy's
Yeah.
first movie.
Yep, it's a very interestingly it's a very interesting movie visually, considering that it takes place inside offices mostly. And I got to like it more and more and more as it went along.
It was thought provoking.
It was very thought provoking, and I think it represents a lot of government that will seem very familiar to us. And
Well, what I found interesting was that it was revolving around this scandal of this mayor who I still can't believe actually was elected mayor, but I should believe since we know who's our president. But it revolved around that, but it actually kind of pitted two generations who do things maybe differently, or again, it kind of was an interesting insight into millennials that I never thought of before, and so it had more to say than just on the surface. I stayed with it later and thought about it some more.
and it seemed very realistic.
Well, and we know that it was based on
But
reality.
the way it's presented
Yeah.
is even though it goes back and forth and around, it's very on the money, and
You got a good cast there.
very good cast. And again, if you like political scandal movies,
And if
you're a millennial,
And
or
if you're interested, because I didn't even know half the things
Yeah, me
about
neither. I just
this
knew
mayor.
he-
I just knew who he was.
he was kicked out of office.
Yeah, but we didn't know much about what was going on behind the scenes. So that also is another interesting insight.
So it's called Run This Town, and on demand and digital, and in some theaters, March 6th.
Now we have two heads up for you for two things that are happening on Netflix that seem so interesting. And the first one,
The first one is a movie that I cannot bear to wait till March 13th for. Lost Girls, directed by Liz Garbus, written by Michael Weirwee, based on a book by Robert Kolker. And it stars one of my favorite actresses who mostly gets to play wives and
Not
supporting
anymore.
characters, prostitutes, Amy Ryan, who I just adore. She... Gabriel Byrne,
Thomasine McKenzie.
Thomasine McKenzie, Miriam Shore, and Reed Birney. And I remember, it's based on a case that I remember very vividly. I don't think it was too long ago.
no, it wasn't.
When Mary Gibson's, it was about bodies of mostly prostitutes or street workers who were found in Long Island along the beaches. They just kept uncovering these bodies, and it was a tremendous manhunt. And it's shown. This one is shown from the point of view of Marie Gilbert, whose daughter disappears, and they're just not doing anything about it.
Well, I think
police
that
in action just drives her to be her own.
Well, I think police in general, when a sex worker or a prostitute or somebody who they don't look at it as importantly as they would somebody else. And this is why when all of our TV shows, when we watch or something, it's very easy to target sex workers because they're kind of at the fringes of society and nobody cares.
Well, Amy Ryan's character makes sure that people know that this is someone's daughter, that these are someone's mothers, that these are people who, no matter what they had to do for a living, are people that need to be all found, and their killer needs to be found. And
So she actually bands with the other mothers.
yes, her
right?
daughter. Actually, her body is found on this gated Long Island community. And no one quite even knows why she was there, but there might be a clue in that. I don't know. And many mothers band together, and it really brought major media attention to this story, and that's how they ultimately solved it. So
Right.
really,
Looks really good.
Looks very compelling, and Amy Ryan is just, off the hook. It looks like on this. We just saw a preview. I loved it.
So Lost Girls is going to be on Netflix March 13th. And next up, and we couldn't even find a trailer for this
No.
for some reason. I don't know why.
But I watch it.
But it's a new limited series that is going to also be on Netflix March 20th. It's going to be, well, at first I guess they were planning to do it 8 episodes. Now it seems like it's 4 episodes. I'm not sure.
Maybe they're longer.
But it's called Self-Made, inspired by the life of Madam C.J. Walker, and it's created by Nicole Jefferson Asher and Alayla Bundles, and it stars the wonderful Octavia Spencer.
The always wonderful Octavia Spencer, and this time not playing some kind of a crazy evil something or
which
other.
she's just been doing in the last couple of years. Also Tiffany Haddish, Blair Underwood, Kia King, and Carmen Ejogo.
I think. Anyway, I love her.
And it's the story about, we didn't know, again,
true story
about the African-American entrepreneur, Madam C.J. Walker, who built a hair care empire.
For African-American
exactly,
women.
Especially for African-American women. And she became America's first female self-made millionaire. So there. The story is compelling. The cast is wonderful.
Yes, that's all we know about it. But I can't help but think, first of all, it's Netflix, that it's not going to be inspiring, wonderful, enraging probably in places.
And I'm so happy that more and more of these stories come out about, like Hidden Figures and all these women who I didn't know about this woman in particular.
Why would we know? I mean, we're not taught it. Not taught
exactly.
this
There are
history in school.
And I remember my English teacher in college said that she decided to become an English teacher when she realized, when she was in college, that everybody she's learned about and everybody she loves, they're all men. And she decided, wait a second, where are all the women? And so she went and looked for all the female writers, and God knows there were many of them.
And wasn't she African American?
No.
Oh.
But
you did have.
I did have a wonderful teacher. Yes. Actually, so many of my teachers, because I went to city colleges, were so fantastic. Because I think you have to be committed to the role to go to city, to teach in a city.
To a job.
When you teach in a city college, because you certainly don't go into it for the money. But
you had great teachers.
I did.
I really envy you.
I did. And so this is also, there are so much of history is told by men, about men, and there are so many women who never really got their day of glory. And so I'm so happy that because I have to see actually who's producing this. I would bet that Octavia Spencer is one of the producers.
Of course.
Probably also Tiffany Haddish. I'm so happy that more and more of these women who are becoming more and more powerful in Hollywood are making these stories happen.
First of all, it's obvious it's part of their contract, so they have a lot of say about it too.
No, but oftentimes they start their own production companies. Viola Davis has her own production company right now. Regina King is working on. I just love it. It makes me so happy to know that more and more women have control over what stories are being told.
Yeah, I mean Nicole and
Reese and Jennifer Aniston, and really, I'm so happy. The more women in decision-making positions, the better our shows are. It's very
fulfilling, and it's certainly good for lady parts and our viewers, our viewers and listeners.
Yes. So this is called Self-Made, inspired by the life of Madam C.J. Walker. It will be out on Netflix March 20th, so I know you'll be doing both those weekends, March 13th and March 20th. I will be just back from Israel and basically just in bed watching things from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m.
And that will be different from what you do before you went to Israel?
You sit in front of the television from 8 a.m. Well, not from 8 a.m.
No, not 8 a.m., no.
I try to cook and do other things and then I sit at the television. But we're going to have a DVR full of things, let alone our streaming services.
Exactly.
And,
too much.
Something to look forward to. Anyway, thank you for joining us for another podcast episode. We hope we gave you lots of things to watch while I'm away.
Have a great weekend.
And we will see you when I'm back, or talk to you when I'm back.
Exactly.
Actually, we will see you too, because we are going to do we're going to do a vlog about last time in Halifax when I get back too. We are very much looking forward to it. All right.
Bye.